Sing the song. Yeah. Come on, baby, shout it, tell me what it do. Y'all gotta love me, though. I swear to God. Last year, let's smoke some kills. Sip a little absolute. Say what you know about shorty. Just me and you, yeah.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy XDDouble back at you with another video. This time we are going to check out an interesting video that I came across. It is from xCeleste because she's the GOAT. Difference between sports fans and boy band fans. And I'm gonna go ahead and probably assume that she means girl bands too. I mean, it is what it is. Fans are fans. It don't matter if it's BTS or Blackpink, Dreamweaver, EXO. I mean, K-pop, not K-pop, but that genre of music where you have a group of people in the group singing and you have arenas full of people. So I'm gonna go when she's saying that, and boy band is just like the more common name. But anyway, let's see what she's talking about, because I never really thought of it like that. Because I mean, I sure do love my sports. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I buy my jerseys, I get my hoodies, my hats, everything. And I mean, I guess that ain't really no difference between that and, you know, someone who follows a musical band or something like that, who buys their t-shirts and go to the shows and all that good stuff. So anyway, without further ado, let's get up into this. But first, go ahead, join the double team, like, subscribe, and hit the socials, and let's go.
That the image of young girls screaming their lungs out with excitement.
Oh, I forgot to turn my headphones on. There we go.
Why is it that the image of young girls screaming their lungs out with excitement for a pop star is considered crazy, psycho, scary, a bit much? But the image of young boys screaming their lungs out for a footballer is perfectly normal.
Sports fans and boy band fans, they have a lot more in common than you think. First, let's talk about the similarities between a sports team and a band. I'll be using BTS as an example since they are currently the biggest boy band in the world. Both a sports team and a band such as BTS are groups who showcase their talents and entertain large crowds. They work hard to improve their skills by practicing and training, often entering their chosen fields at a young age. Both groups exert a lot of time and energy into their careers, which very often have a shorter lifespan than other disciplines. Similarities.
Man, this is crazy just watching them kind of do the same things side by side.
Both groups exert a lot of time and energy into their careers, which very often have a shorter lifespan than other disciplines. Similarities carry over to their fans as well.
Now that I look at this, man, look at these crazy sport fans. They look crazy. They look crazy. I wish I was in there with them, but they look crazy.
Like, I have my mirror over here, and it's a giant mirror.
I was in Miami. When I came back, we had the jersey. I actually framed it. If you want anything framed, I got you.
It's not uncommon to find fans of different genders, ethnicities, and ages at a BTS concert or fan meetup.
Funky fans are number one because they use paint for purposes not specified on the label.
Before the concert, the Mendez family from Sacramento could hardly believe this was happening.
We've been here since like 8 o'clock this morning.
Diehards waited 29 years for a chance to win the World Series.
I ain't gonna front. When they put that chant into actual music, man, that'd be sounding hard. That'd be sounding hard. I'm surprised they didn't put a fan chant from some of the sports teams, because a lot of sports teams, especially like English soccer, they got all types of fan chants. There you go. There it go. I was like, how y'all don't gonna show that? But there you go, there you go.
What does your fan club name ARMY stand for?
Adorable Representative MC for Youth.
Yes,
what game that Klay Thompson went off for 37 points in the third quarter?
Against the Kings?
Yeah, there you go.
왜지? 내가 뭐 했는데? 너 영어 했잖아. 아 영어 그냥.
Jungkook's English is so cute.
If you're not playing so.
See, they be looking at this stuff. What up, BTS? How y'all be? They be watching. They be watching this stuff, yo. They be reading these things because, I mean, you sitting there bored, like they look like right there. And they're like, you know what, let's see what the fans is talking about. So, yeah. And I bet you they've seen me before. But, I mean, you know, they don't got to show no love in the comment section. It's cool. You know, I know that y'all was there in spirit.
너 영어 했잖아. 아 영어 그냥. Jungkook's English is so cute.
If you're not playing so well, sometimes you look at your mentions and now you have a diehard fan, an opponent's fan, saying whatever they want. We tend to get caught up in what's being said from that person.
Even with all these common factors, the differences are glaring. One is male-dominated, while the other is female-dominated. While sports fans are culturally accepted, fans of boy bands are often ridiculed and labeled as rabid.
We know the BTS ARMY is a rabid fan base, and
yet one carries a prevalence of violence, while
fans from all around the world were not just excited by the group's successful sold-out stadium debut.
That's facts, but that's because the sport naturally puts people head to head against each other, whereas music doesn't. I mean, unless you go to a Versus. If y'all don't know, check those out, where they take, I mean, usually they're older hip-hop or R&B singers, and they put them head-to-head against each other on the stage for some music. But, I mean, I don't even think at that point it would get violent. At least not violent on, you know, between that. But, yeah. Yeah, I've been to games where people that came from another town for their team, they got to saying too much nonsense with a little bit too much liquor in them to the wrong people, and
excited by the group's successful sold-out stadium debut.
And both sides contribute to toxicity, most notably on social media.
ESPN tweeted out a few photos of BTS band member Suga to celebrate his time at Dodger Stadium. Trolls began rolling in, replying to the tweet and picking on him. One user wrote, quote, "I need a translator," as well as another saying, quote, "Do they have some kind of disease?" And in a now deleted tweet, a misinformed user wrote, "Just another rich Chinese kid."
So why are these two types of fans seen in such different lights? Gender might have a factor in this matter. Sports are most often associated with men and masculinity, where their hyped emotions are often glazed over as the norm. We've subconsciously been told through media representation that it is the status quo for boys and men to be emotional to the point of violence over sports. And yet, girls and women are senseless for fangirling over boy bands. Boy band fans are told, "Why do you like them? They don't even know you exist."
And the two girls were holding a sign, like an A3 handmade, hand-drawn sign that was just advertising the new BTS album. Yeah, and I've never ever wanted to bully someone like in real life.
But someone needs to tell them that that's not okay.
Someone does.
Because they will, like in a decade, they'll look back on that day in Chadstone. Like, do you remember when we went to Chadstone to promote Korean pop stars who we've never met, or have no connection with? We've just done that in our brains.
I don't know why anyone would make this their entire...
That's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life right there. Holy crap. Where did she find that clip? Because that was some straight ignorance at that point. That's like, are you seriously saying that, bro? You ain't got no sense. It don't matter if he's Korean, Japanese, American, freaking Australian, from Tibet. It don't really matter. If that's their thing, that's their thing. What's wrong with you?
Or have no connection with. We've just done that in our brains.
I don't know why anyone would make this their entire identity. These K-pop stans have changed their entire life to make it all about being a fan of that group. The group doesn't know they exist, and if the group ever encountered that person in the real world, they would immediately call security because they'd be afraid.
Yet, people are allowed to idolize players and be loyal fans of teams.
Nah, that's cap right there, because everything he just said, there's sports that do the exact same thing. And yeah, I mean, they just showed, I think it was Russell Westbrook, push a fan back because he's getting too close.
Yet people are allowed to idolize players and be loyal fans of teams. They know all the players' names, stats, and records, when none of the players know they exist.
I am Nicole Santero. I'm a PhD student studying the BTS and ARMY fandom. And on Twitter, I am Research BTS. I actually am a lifelong sports fan. I grew up playing sports. I played basketball, and I grew up in LA, so I'm a big Laker fan and idolize Kobe Bryant. And I was a competitive tennis player, training almost every day, traveling, playing tournaments. So I was an athlete up until college. But then there's also like this other side of me where I've been a lifelong music fan, right? I was a musician all my life as well. I grew up playing the violin. I played piano since I was 10. And then I was just so in love with music and immersed in pop culture. And what's always been interesting is the perception of these two sides of me, right? When it came to sports, it was so cool and I was tough and I was winning state championships and I was one of the guys. But then when it came to my music taste and my love of these different bands, it was definitely considered uncool and immature, and I was just some crazy obsessed fan. You know, we clearly see that these two fan communities are a lot alike, but society doesn't question the intense behavior of sports fans in which violence is prevalent, but when you love a boy band, you're looked down on even when exhibiting tamer behavior. And, you know, while it's important to acknowledge that toxic behavior does exist in all fandoms, all communities, all subcultures in our society, this issue of violence in sports fans and sports spectatorship, like, it's not something that's made up, nor is it like an assumption, right? It's something that's actually existed for centuries, and it's been recorded and analyzed and even studied for decades. So
BTS fans known as ARMY have organized hundreds of charitable acts, created mental health and educational resources in multiple disciplines, while breaking records and making history.
The BTS ARMY. They're some of the most loyal, positive, and fun fans that you could ever dream of.
The ARMY are great.
They're the most beautiful human beings.
They're so awesome. Also, they're so poorly represented in culture.
Like fans who are already coming out of the pocket to support artists came out of pocket more to support charity. And this isn't the first time they've done this. This BTS ARMY charity gives a bunch to philanthropic causes.
But all these initiatives are overlooked, as the media favors a single-minded narrative. There's hardly any stigma against being a loyal fan of sports, TV series, comics, movies, and games. So why the distaste towards loyal fans of musicians? All fandoms have had and will continue to have its positive and negative aspects. But what I want to bring attention to is the difference of reception of a male-dominated versus a female-dominated fan base. Girls and women need to be respected instead of being shamed for things they're passionate about. They shouldn't be afraid to express their love for something that makes them happy, just because it's not male-dominated.
Girls grow up in a world that tells them that they are designed just a bit crazier than the boys. Then isn't that a little bit like telling them that they are born less capable of rationality than men, less capable of reason, and unworthy of the same intellectual respect as their brothers?
That was good. That was good. Oh, that's a long one. Next one. We'll get to that video after we start looking actually into the Wings album. But anyway, she made a lot of good points. I mean, some of her stuff was like drawn together to definitely make a point. Because, I mean, it's not always that extreme. But she really made some really good points. And I see it differently now. I definitely see it differently now. Because it's true. And I mean, I saw it just by the title. I mean, the title had made a ton of sense. Like, how is it different? Because I'm sure enough thinking about all the people at the concerts with the light sticks and saying the fan chants, and then thinking about all the people like they showed all face painted and looking crazy and acting wild and everything at the sports game. It's the same thing. It's just a different thing that you're, let me get it. There it is. Fanatical about. Because that's all it is. You're a fan and you get passionate about it, and it is what it is. But that was good. Good eye opener. Good eye opener. I'm going to look at all types of fandoms differently now. But anyway, hopefully y'all pick something up off of that. If you like that video, definitely go support xCeleste. She's the GOAT. When I tell you she's the GOAT, she's the GOAT in all of this. She makes great videos, and I see that she's doing like reactions and stuff too. She does like, I guess, like vlogs. She's got a Patreon. I wonder what's on her Patreon. Because, yeah, I got to see. Maybe I'll subscribe to hers just because, like I said, she's a GOAT. And I'm sure she's got some good stuff in there. But anyway, like this video, though, go ahead, like, subscribe, join the Double Team, hit the socials. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.